Joining us this week, he is in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs for 2024 after his first career Cup Series victory at Daytona just a few weeks ago in the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar 400. Of course, comes from a racing family. We are joined by driver of the number 21 Ford Motorcraft, Dex Imaging Ford Mustang in the NASCAR Cup Series, the one and only Harrison Burton. Harrison, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, thanks for having me on, and doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good. Not as good as you after collecting that first trophy a couple of weeks back. And before we jump into that, of course, a guy like you comes from such a wealth of knowledge and racing family. First question we always like to talk about. Tell us how you caught the racing bug, Harrison.
Yeah, for me it was, pretty easy. I just, grew up around the racetrack watching my dad race, obviously. I went to my first race when I was like 6 weeks old, I should say. And, just fell in love with it ever since I was a little kid. My parents really tried to make me not race. They wanted me to do something else, but I convinced them after long enough and got into racing and kind of fell in love with it for my own reasons. And, it's just been an awesome journey for now what seems like my entire life. I've been racing and, just something I love, and love to do.
Let's jump back a couple of weeks. Obviously, Daytona gets you in the playoffs with that win there. Leading up to that, talk to us about the 2024 season for you so far in the 21 car for the Wood brothers.
Yeah, up until that point, it hadn't gone how we wanted, obviously. Had a lot of ups and downs. Felt like we had a lot of good runs that didn't work out the way I felt they should have, or, a lot of things kind of fell through at the last second, and felt like we had a lot more potential than what we had shown the whole year. And, it wasn't too long ago. I had just, found out I wasn't going to return to the 21 car. So, was having a really, really hard year. And what was really special about our group is, we never quit on each other and went to work the same way every day and through some of the hardest times of my entire life. And it's been awesome to see that team rally around me. And when they could have quit, right? And we kept bringing fast race cars, and, we knew we had a chance to get the 100th win for the Wood brothers, which is pretty historic. And stuff like that doesn't come around very often in life, so to be able to take advantage of that opportunity, win that race, get those guys that stood behind me in a really hard time in victory lane was really special. So, yeah, up till Daytona, it was hard. It was really challenging. And then all of a sudden now we have this new breath of life and a lot of confidence in our race team, and we're ready to move forward.
You also won an IMSA race at Daytona a handful of years ago. And as we head to the Glen, how do you feel your road course craft has grown over your career?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was the first road course race I had won was that race at Daytona, and getting to do that was really special. I got to do it with Zane Smith, who's one of my good friends. We were driver, and he started the race, and I finished it, and that was really fun and just a good way to kind of get my road course, more experience in that aspect, right? And obviously going to Watkins Glen this weekend in an interesting, place where we can point our way to the next round, so we have to go out and execute. So going to be leaning on all that experience. I haven't had a ton of experience road racing other than in NASCAR stuff. So, it's been something that I've worked really hard to get better at year in and year out, and hopefully I can show all that work this weekend.
Talking about Daytona and collecting the 100th win for the Wood brothers, which was huge. Their 99th came at Pocono, 98th came at Daytona with Trevor Bayne, and 97th came with Elliott Sadler at Bristol. Bristol's coming up on the docket as well for you. But talk to us about what it meant for you. Obviously, you've won in the Xfinity Series. Having your mom jumping up and down on the pit box, celebrating that win, and your father coming down from the booth. What did it mean for that first Cup Series win?
Yeah, it's just cool, right? Like, it's pretty rare you get to, do something like that you've, worked your whole life towards, really, and have a lot of people that help you do all that work to get to that situation there with you is really cool, right? So that's the kind of stuff that is just really special and something that, you'll look back on and show hopefully, show your kids one day that video, right? And just stuff like that. Whether it's my mom or my dad being in the booth, my fiance Jenna was there. The only person that wasn't there that's like in my immediate family is my sister Paige. She was watching my dog at home, so she had a helping hand in that as well. So it's definitely a family affair. So it was cool to have them there and have them celebrate with me.
Harrison, what is so special about the 21 team? Because it always seems to take in a younger guy and puts him in victory lane, and usually at a huge track. I mean, what is so special about that team that helps you get over the top at that Daytona?
Yeah, I think what's special is they just believe in their people, right? And they empower you and trust you to do kind of your job, and the Wood family themselves do everything the right way, I feel like, and build up a really good relationship with everyone on the team. So it's pretty easy to go to work and work hard for those guys, and you want to do well for them because of the way they treat you, right? It's just like having a good boss at any other job. It makes all the employees at the job better. And so when you have the Wood family kind of leading the ship in that regard, it's really easy to kind of get everyone to kind of get in line and get pulling the rope in the same direction. And I think that's kind of where some of that success comes from and why they've been able to do it since 1950, right? Ever since the beginning, they've done things the right way and treated people the right way. And, that's what makes winning for them really special, is because, even just driving for them, you feel like you're a part of their family forever, and now winning a race and their 100th race even more so.
I've been to the shop down in Stewart, Virginia, and saw Leonard Wood working on a engine from a 1961 car, I believe, that ran Daytona. That's a cool little shop down there, and obviously you went and celebrated the 100th win. What's it mean to you to have your face up in that building for the years to come, along with the other names that have won in that car, including, again, Ryan Blaney, Elliott Sadler, Neil Bonnet, Dale Jarrett? It's got to feel pretty cool.
Morgan Shepherd.
Yeah, there you go. You got them all. It's pretty special. It's when you get on a list with the drivers, obviously the ones you named, and then, all the way back to the Pearson days and even longer before then.
Dan Gurney.
You look at Gurney, exactly. You look at their wall, you have kind of all of these just great drivers. And what's really crazy is for the 100th win, they said they'd give me a spot in the middle of all of them. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool to be kind of a part of that and be in that shop and have my picture up on their wall forever in that shop at that historic, area and historic town. And it's just all really cool. So it means a lot to me, and hopefully we can get another win for them and celebrate again.
So obviously the ultimate goal is a championship. The next couple of weeks you've got Watkins Glen and Bristol here in the round of 16. At the end of the day, what's a success for you over the next 2 weeks?
I think for me, just going and doing what we're capable of, right, and showing up prepared and having the right mindset for these next few weekends, I think is not going to be the judge. That's not going to be, people on the outside aren't going to say, oh, they were successful because of this. But if we are successful, it will be because of all those reasons, right? It's going to be because of the work we put in during the week. It's going to be because of the mindset we show up to the racetrack with. So, it's all those things. I think for me, I'm really big on, obviously everyone wants to win. Like you said, that's the obvious goal, is everyone wants to win. But what are your steps to getting there? And knock those goals off one little bit at a time, and then all of a sudden you'll be climbing the bigger mountain, right? It's just, for me, it's about showing up as prepared as I can, showing up with the right mindset, and making the most out of every opportunity. I feel like at Atlanta we had a decent day. We're running really good and got caught up in a wreck on the last corner, the last lap that we didn't cause or weren't really a part of, and that's just racing at those types of racetracks, right? So it's easy to get caught up and get angry about that, but also you understand that you can only control the things you can control, and that's just not something that I was able to control at the time. So just control all the controllables, and we'll have a good couple weeks here and get to the next round.
As someone who appreciates MMA, do you still mix some MMA into your training routine?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I used to train probably more often than I do now. I was starting to get too into it to where I was wanting to spar more often and was getting hurt more often. And I know you guys probably know who Austin Hill is. He was someone that I sparred with a lot, and he's like a massive human being. So Yeah, I got beat up a couple too many times, and it's a good off-season project. I definitely like to train it. I definitely love it. I love watching it. I've got a great appreciation for all those UFC fighters. I've gotten to meet, a good amount of them just through racing and having them out at races and whatnot. And it's just really cool what they do. And yeah, super big fan of those guys. So I know I'm not tough enough to do that. I found out the hard way, but I do still work it into the training sometimes for sure.
So Harrison, when you're getting in the zone to go racing or whatever it is, what do you do to get into the zone? Is it listen to music or whatever? And if so, like, what are you listening to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the hard thing about racing is, and we just had a couple NFL guys out to a race, and they were all so surprised that, before the race, we're not able to really get away, right? We're talking to people, we're doing meet and greets, talking to sponsors all the way up until we get into the car. And so you don't really have a chance to get in the zone. You don't really have a chance to listen to music or, sit alone in a room and focus. And so for me, all that comes as soon as I get buckled into the car after the national anthem and all that, and just kind of have a minute or two to myself to get ready to roll. That's kind of where I get in the zone. And then music-wise, I listen to all kinds of stuff. I'm all over the board. I have a lot of rock, a lot of country, a lot of rap. I'm literally listening to almost any genre, so I'm bouncing all over the board. But I like it all, really. So
when you have that moment to yourself, what are you telling yourself?
Yeah, it's for me, it's just focusing on the goals at hand, right, and understand the situation you got, right, and try and do that throughout the race as well under cautions and talk myself through, whether it's in my head or sometimes out loud, of things I feel like I need to do and need to do well to have a good day. And I think there's sometimes just power in saying things out loud, or telling yourself what you need to do out loud, right? And that's something I try and work on, is kind of just verbalize that to myself, and then that way start to kind of get my gears turning in my brain about what I need to do to make those things happen. And then all of a sudden you're kind of in the mindset of getting ready to go and nail the initial start of the race. So for me, that's one of the big things for sure.
So we haven't brought him up yet. Your uncle has been on our show. Now you're on our show. Hopefully at some point we get your father on. But I'm sure there had to be a phone call and a congratulations from Uncle Ward in the woods of Virginia somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ward gave me a call. There's another brother named Brian who gave me a call. It lives in South Boston as well. Kind of the whole family. It was crazy though. The week of the win, I got like 600 text messages and a whole bunch of phone calls, and so it was chaos trying to get back to everyone. I still don't know if I have gotten back to everyone yet, so I apologize if anyone I haven't texted back. But yeah, no, Ward gave me a call, and it's always been cool because Ward is someone I haven't gotten to spend as much time around as I would like to, just because he lives in Virginia. I live in North Carolina, and obviously we're both very busy, and he's just someone that always has your back no matter what. So he's just a really special dude, and he's his own kind of person, that is for sure.
So obviously leaving the 21 at the end of the season, any plans in motion for 2025 yet?
Yeah, I'd say, we're working on some things, and I feel pretty good about some things. And, I don't have anything done yet, and I still don't know for sure what all is going on, but I do know that, I feel really confident that I'm going to be a race car driver next year. So that's not a bad day. So I'm going to continue doing what I love, and we just have to find out where and when I'm going to do it. But, I feel good about, the fact that I'll be in a race car. So it's all you can ask for is the chance to kind of go do the job you want to do, and I'll have that, I feel like, next year, and we'll see where it is sooner than later, I think.
Very cool. So one thing I thought was pretty cool a couple of years back up in Loudon was the fact that you and now your fiance Jenna were roaming Thursday Night Fan Fest at New Hampshire one year. Talk to us just a little bit about New Hampshire in general, and maybe some favorite activities you have up here in the Northeast when you visit here in July.
Yeah, we love rolling around. The fan zone, especially out there, is cool, and we just like checking out and hanging out with race fans and stuff. And at that point, no one really recognized me, and it was kind of nice because I could just cruise through there and hang out like a race fan. And now after I won, we went to the fan zone in in our last race that we were at, and I got recognized a few times, so had to had to scurry away and hide a little bit. But it's super fun to go up to New Hampshire. I have a bunch of buddies that actually live up there. I've got a fishing buddy, and like kind of a whole fishing group that I go. If I do have time, I'd love to stay up there and get out on go on Lake Winnipesaukee and go catch some lake trout and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a good time up there, and fishing I think is probably my favorite thing to do while we're up there.
Excellent. Any sponsors and folks you want to thank here on the show? Of course, driver of the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford, Harrison Burton, joining us here tonight. Yeah.
Obviously, I think for us, right, everyone that stuck by us, right, has been, I've had Dex Imaging, I'd say, since I was 13 years old as a sponsor. And so for me to have them in Cup Victory Lane pretty recently, for all the way from late model races, from trucks to Xfinity, and gotten them into Xfinity and Cup Victory Lane now is really, really cool. So I think just those guys, right, is probably the main one I'd love to give a shout out to. And then obviously Motorcraft and Ford and the whole Ford family has been really awesome to me as well. So yeah, there's almost too many to thank. I'm struggling to reel them all off here, but it's just an amazing group that's around us, and really, really proud to work with the people that I do.
Excellent. Harrison Burton in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs after his win at Daytona just a couple of weeks ago in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. 2 more weeks ahead, and best of luck out there. Go get all the points you can get, Harrison. Great to talk to you here tonight.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate y'all having me on, and y'all have a good night.
You too.